in the last in the last 1 year is that the security of Delhi has not only been threatened by various traditional methods, but also agitations that have come up here. And one major reason for those agitations was that it was felt that public grievance is not being treated. Somehow, and then there is a trigger, and that allows the entire emotions to pour out on the streets, and the security of this area, the growth of this city is threatened by public outpourings, and also by the agitation that it leads to, by the bad press it gets, and ultimately it shows the entire country in a bad light. So in a way, it stops the growth of the entire country. How do you plan to address this?
See, it may not be fully correct to say that because certain grievances which can be addressed by police, because they remain unaddressed, lead to the agitation on the street. It can be effective, and if you are referring to the incident of December 16, there was spontaneous agitation immediately after that incident. But thereafter, it was noticed that certain interested groups, I will not like to call them vested interests, but definitely certain interested groups also joined the bandwagon. And then they tried to take control of the agitation by making it more virulent. You see, certain spontaneous issues at times can lead to agitations which can never be prevented. But if you see the overall law and order situation in Delhi, whenever any demonstration is held, one is able to contain it within the acceptable limits of democratic behavior by establishing prior contact with the people who are trying to hold a demonstration, by guiding them what exactly they should do, and also by making adequate traffic diversion, traffic arrangements, and also by making arrangements where they also can show the world that they have done something, like you put barricades, you permit some jostling on the barricade, you permit breaking of one barricade, you let them come to the second barricade, then again you use certain non-lethal means at times, maybe water cannon or mild pushing and pulling. So some spontaneous issues can at times lead to agitations where participation of interested groups, I'm not using the word term vested interests, can create a situation where force has to be used, or maybe some more disturbance is caused to the normal citizens. Even if you see the incident of December 16, and thereafter the number of people who are on the streets, the number was not more than 10-15,000 at any given point of time. Those 10-15,000 people, the Delhi is not a city of 10-15,000. The city, yes, the issue was such which impacted the conscience of any right-thinking person. Anybody and everybody in India felt offended, and more so with police, and that is why you saw that police has taken a lot of steps after December 16 incident. Number of steps have been taken to improve reporting systems. Number of steps have been taken to ensure immediate arrest of accused of such offences, and steps have been taken even to ensure that the charge sheet is filed within 20 to 30 days of the arrest. Then, of course, with the help of Honorable High Court of Delhi, we have been able to set up fast track courts in every place. So that incident shocked the conscience of all right-thinking persons, particularly police and those who were in the criminal justice administration system. But there can be occasions when maybe even a fatal accident on the street at times lead to agitation and burning of few buses or few stone pelting. At that time, the police has to act with great restraint because the sentiments are unraised. You give time to people to vent their anger and then contain the situation by, if I may use the term, track to diplomacy, talk to the leaders, talk to the spontaneous leaders, try to sort it out. So all those things. And as far as image is concerned, because at times it has been said that the incident has led to a decline in tourism, which perhaps is not the correct impression, because if the number of tourists have declined, they have declined because of the general economic recession all over the world. People are having lesser savings. So when they have lesser savings, obviously they will be, first cutting down their expenditure on luxuries or comforts. The travel definitely comes in that category. So there are systems in place, and but in a democratic polity, agitation on the street is a national phenomenon.
I'm Anand Swarup, I'm IT security duty. The thing has emerged out of regulation. I'd like to know, would you not agree, Dr. Maisek, that the urban centers in India have become more of a glorified swanty jobs now, the kind of problem that comes with the job? More of them are looking like glorified jobs, including Mumbai, Delhi, or even metropolitan centers, which could be due to the fact that most of the departments or organizations which are supposed to develop or evolve metropolitan city are more like empire building for their own vested interest. And second part to it is that is it not that the technology in India is more often an afterthought, a bit too little, a bit too late, than some kind of a tangible plan or a blueprint that could lead to some kind of solution out of that? Thank you.
So it's a choice between butter and guns. See, I will not like to blame the other for the state of affairs. See, resources of any economy are limited. And yes, the population has exploded, particularly after partition, after India's independence. Particularly in the last 2 decades, the urban centers are exploding. The resources available with those who are managing those urban centers are inadequate to provide very well planned growth. And yes, there have been some misses on their part also. But one will not like to go in that. As far as this technology is concerned, here also I think, you see, that is a natural phenomenon. Like, you see, man always required wheel, but wheel was detected much later. We always required language, but language was invented much later. And it's a natural phenomenon because the need will first arise and then you will think of solutions. Yes, at times solutions can be thought of before the need arises. That is where the R&D matters. You perceive you contemplate about what will be required in future, and then you try to provide answers. But normally, if we see the human history and evolution, you see that technology has come after the need has been felt, whether it was wheel, whether it was language, whether it was electricity, because only if it hurts you, then you will look for what can be the solution, what can be the sort of medicine. Ma'am, you wanted to ask.
Sir, I'm Salima Gupta from KM India. In the answer to the previous question, you had said that you had taken a lot of steps after 16 December. I would like to know, sir, whether any steps for gender sensitization of the lowest rank of policemen, that is the constabulary, have been done. Because as a student here, as a person who lived in Delhi for a very long time, I have always seen that when we approach the police with any kind of unlawful criminal act against women, the sensitivity of the general constable and the lack of understanding of the whole situations is very, very evident.
In the police thinking, if I may say so, apart from that, it shocked the conscience of the nation, and everybody started thinking about, this became an issue of discussion. In Delhi particularly, a number of steps were taken, which included, I'll briefly mention a few of the steps. For instance, you see, every police station now in Delhi has a women help desk, which is manned round the clock, round the year. And in every police station now we have 10 to 15 women constables and officers posted in the police station. So any police station you walk in today, and you will have a woman help desk to greet you and to listen to your problems or listen to you whatever you may have to say. This is one. Then there are certain vulnerable areas, particularly the slums and areas lacking civic amenities. There we have introduced our women officers as beat constables. About 300 odd beats in Delhi are now having women officers in addition to the men police officers. These women in particular go to the objective is to ensure better interaction with the vulnerable women. They go interact with them at places they are called aunties, at places they are being known as they are called didis, and they go to vulnerable women, talk to them by saying auntie, didi, etc. And they are making them aware of the laws concerning domestic violence, then also educating their men also. With that, you have to respect the women, and guiding the young kids, young girls, that how can they take preventive, making them broadly aware of the dangers, and then how can they prevent those dangers. Because when we analyze our crime against women, we find that the most vulnerable women are in the slums and areas lacking civic, economically low strata of society live, where many of the men are without they have not visited their families in the last decade. So this problem is far more serious. So apart from that, we have carried out an audit of the working women hostels and PG accommodation. Wherever we felt that certain security measures were required, we have suggested to the concerned. We have a list now. We are in touch with those who are running the PG for women and working women hostels, and we are in regular touch with them. Then, in certain PCR vans, particularly around girls' schools and colleges, during school opening and closing hours, we ensure that a woman officer is posted. And then we have a system of ensuring that whenever there is incident of rape, when the victim is spoken to, a psychologist from the NGO is available with us. And now, of course, a number of steps have been taken by the government to set up rape crisis intervention center, which will further streamline these processes. And then, as far as gender sensitization is concerned, now all basic training programs of police and refresher training programs of police pay great emphasis on sensitization of policemen on gender issues. And then our target this year is that every policeman in Delhi Police will undergo a gender sensitization program. All 84,000 strong force, particularly those on the executive side. There are some in the ministerial communication, etc., who do not come in contact with the public at all. All executive police personnel, which may be around 60 or 1,000, they will be undergoing this gender sensitization course. Apart from gender sensitization, we also are trying to sensitize them about the issues pertaining to foreigners, issues pertaining to northeastern brethren and sisters, and also on issues pertaining to the other vulnerable sections, whether minorities, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes. So a special capsule course has been designed where we are making them aware of the gender issues. And I do not know, when did you last interact with a police officer? I wish you visit our police stations, and then if you find, and then of course we are doing, if you find any problem, please let us know. We are also taking certain steps. For instance, we on February 27, we launched an application called Delhi Police Loss Report. You see, by downloading this application on Google Play Store, on Apple Store, on there is this window, you can lodge your loss report instantly, and you get a digitally signed loss report, and this is the only application of its kind in the world. Nowhere else any police organization or any government organization is giving you an instantly digitally signed loss report. If you lodge a loss report, then we recently in the month of May we launched a traffic application. Recently we have launched a police clearance application on web as well as on through internet. So objective is that we reduce the inconvenience of people, particularly those who are vulnerable groups, and for women's safety, a number of steps, particularly this 24/7 women help desk in police stations is of great assistance, apart from our 1091, which is very popular now, that women help them.
Mentioned that incorporation of technology is very important for the processes. At the same time, you also mentioned that the alert system which are there in the market right now, they are adding to a lot of confusion. So in case we have a solution which is a very smart alert system, which basically distinguishes which should go to the police, which alerts should not go to the police, and even the alerts which go to the police gets to see, I am here. At the same time, whether it is a case which is meant for their reaction or not, will it find favor, sir? Will this kind of system find favor, and will you be interested in looking at some system like this?
Yes. For instance, the number of calls which we receive at police control room is almost 35 to 40,000.
Right.
Every day, about 35 to 40,000 calls are received. Of course, number of them are calls for inquiries or maybe for pertaining to other departments, etc., etc. When you talk in terms of actionable calls, because here the person will ring up and will say, this is what is the problem. The actionable call is about 7,000. So that means only 1/5 of the calls are actionable. Here the person in distress is picking up the phone and then giving a ring to police control room. And this we have tried to analyze, and we find this is the situation not only with us but all over the world. The number of calls is far more than what actually are the distress calls. Now when you have only an alert, only a beep sound, one will not know. For instance, today if a woman, if a man is in trouble, for instance, a man may have a fight with the taxi driver on the fare, or he may have an argument with the taxi driver with the fare, and then the other caller may say that somebody has robbed me of my 5,000 rupees.
Right.
If you have only one PCR vehicle available, so you will make a choice whether you are going to dispatch your PCR vehicle to the one who is having an argument with somebody on auto fare or a taxi fare, or the person who has been just robbed of his 5,000 rupees after showing a gun. So when you are talking in terms of alerts, so this is one of the fundamental weakness with the beep alerts, because you do not know what exactly is the problem. And then if you start dispatching your vehicle, then you may miss dispatching your vehicle for some actual distress situation. So the technology and the solution providers need to think of methodologies by which some distinction can be made, and I don't want to go into certain other details, but you see there are, you see many a time when you are in, if we analyze the say incidents of rapes and molestations,
Right.
there the conditions are such, like 80% of the rapes are occurring in slums and similarly situated areas, and about 8 to 10% of the victims are below the age of 7 or 8 years, who may not be getting cell phones.
True.
Or the woman who is going to the for toilet to a nearby common toilet in the morning, obviously may not be carrying the cell phone. The persons who are carrying the cell phones are definitely not in the vulnerable segment, and if you analyze this data. My problem is with those who are living in slums and similarly situated areas, who are 80% of my victims.
Right.
20% of the victims belong to other areas, and at times, you know, the incident may be in conditions where the cell phone will not be available. The
Right.
person has been given some intoxicant, or the person is having I'm saying it's a friendly environment where the friend becomes crosses the limit.
Sure.
So, you know, there are issues with these solutions because they are in the realm of romanticization, if I may say so. They are not in the realm of reality. Reality is, how will I protect my 80% of the victims who are being assaulted when they are sleeping in their homes, or they are moving towards the common toilet, or they happen to be the child of 6 years when she is traveling in a school bus. Obviously, she may not be carrying the device which the solution providers are presently suggesting. Thank you.
Last one more. Sir, I am Pawan Jain, Additional DG Planning Madhya Pradesh. मेरा सवाल एक बहुत छोटा सा है सर, कि तकनीकी की हम बात कर रहे हैं सुरक्षा के लिए। BPRND के सर्वे में दो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण बातें अभी आई हैं। 28 स्टेट में सर्वे हुआ था, MP में चूँकि उसका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन हुआ था कि पुलिस वालों के लिए शिफ्ट की ड्यूटी नहीं है, ना उनके ड्यूटी के घंटे तय हैं, ना छुट्टी का दिन। हमारे सामने कहा जाता है कि बल बहुत कम है, लेकिन तकनीकी हो सकता है फोर्स मल्टीप्लायर का काम करे। क्या कभी हम ऐसी व्यवस्था बना पाएंगे किसी भी रूप में जहां तकनीकी के प्रयोग से हम पुलिस वालों के ड्यूटी के घंटे तय कर दें, उनका वीकेंड तय कर दें, और ऐसी कोई तकनीकी बना सकें कि वो अपनी ड्यूटी भी निभा सकें और एक मानव की तरह रह सकें, न तो उनके छुट्टी के दिन तय। और कभी किसी दिन ऐसा हिंदुस्तान में दिन आए किसी भी मुल्क के लिए कि कोई भी पुलिसकर्मी होली और दिवाली के दिन अपने परिवार के साथ मनाए, वो ड्यूटी लेके डंडा लेके रोड पर ना खड़ा रहे। क्या ऐसी कोई तकनीकी संभव है, ऐसा कोई प्रयोग संभव है? दूसरा मेरा छोटा सवाल योजना का है, जो मैं योजना देखता हूँ, मुझे लगता है कि हमारे देश में योजना और क्रियान्वयन के बीच में बहुत फासला है। हम शहरों की तो बात कर रहे हैं, कस्बों और देहातों में स्थिति ये है कि पुलिसकर्मियों के पास न थानों में वाहन है, न हथियार। कई बार डकैत आते हैं स्वचालित हथियारों के साथ तेज रफ्तार वाहनों में, और थाने के पुलिसकर्मी डंडा लेके दौड़ लगाते हैं। हम लोग कहते हैं कि ठीक है, जब कभी हेलीकॉप्टर लेके लोग डाका डालने आएंगे तब थानों में गाड़ियाँ मिल जाएंगी। तो ये योजना और क्रियान्वयन के बीच में जो फासला है, निश्चित रूप से आप पुलिस नेतृत्व में है, और वहाँ भी जो समस्याएं आती हैं सरकार के साथ में, कि ये जो योजना और क्रियान्वयन के फासले हैं, जब तक ये दूर नहीं होंगे तब तक तकनीकी क्या इसका समाधान है?
देखिए साहब, आपने दो सवाल पूछे। जहाँ तक सवाल है कि होली और दिवाली पे पुलिस वाला घर में बैठे, वो अगर आदर्श वो कोई जिसे यूटोपिया कहते हैं, अगर वो हो गया तो वो जरूर बैठेगा, वरना मेरे ख्याल में हम सबको जो पुलिसकर्मी हैं हमेशा तैयार रहना चाहिए। और ये मैं ये कहूँगा एक हमारा सौभाग्य है कि हमारे को एक कि समाज हमारे में इतना विश्वास करता है कि ताकि वो आराम से होली दिवाली ईद मना सके, क्रिसमस मना सके, कि हम सड़क पे खड़े हैं। तो ये इसको मैं अपना सौभाग्य समझता हूँ कि हम पुलिस वालों को एक ये मौका मिलता है कि जनता की अच्छी होली मने, होली दिवाली मने, कि हमें जो है सड़क पे उस दिन खड़े होने का मौका मिलता है। बाकी जहाँ तक सवाल है टेक्नोलॉजी से, यस, देखिए अब 8 घंटे हो गए या 12 घंटे हो गए या 16 घंटे हो गए, कई बार होता है कि आप वॉलंटरली 16 घंटे काम करना चाहेंगे, क्योंकि जनून एक जो है, दिस इज ऑल्सो एन अपॉर्चुनिटी। अभी मेरी मेहरा साहब से बात हो रही थी, दिल्ली में काफ़ी चैलेंजेस हैं, मैंने कहा अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ हैं, बिकॉज एवरी चैलेंज इज एन अपॉर्चुनिटी। अगर समस्याएं हैं तो एक हर समस्या हमें एक अपॉर्चुनिटी प्रोवाइड कर रही है। अब जैसे आपने कहा टेक्निक, अब जो मैं दिल्ली पुलिस लॉ सपोर्ट के बारे में मैंने जिसका आपसे जिक्र किया, देखिए हम सब पुलिस वालों को इस बात का पता है कि जब भी किसी की कोई चीज़ हो जाती है तो उसको पुलिस के पास आके एक रिपोर्ट लिखानी पड़ती है कि साहब मेरा सेल फोन चोरी हो गया, या मेरा मान लीजिए आई कार्ड हो गया, क्योंकि जो आई कार्ड बनाता है वो कहता है कि पुलिस रिपोर्ट लाओ, पासपोर्ट बनाने वाला भी बोलता है कि एक पुलिस की रिपोर्ट लाओ तब मैं आपको डुप्लीकेट पासपोर्ट इशू करूँगा। अब उस चक्कर में आई कम फ्रॉम चेन्नई टू दिल्ली, when I go back to Chennai, I realize that my passport has been lost, and I am sure when I got down from the Chennai airport, I found my passport is missing. So the passport has been lost in Delhi. If I go to Chennai police station to lodge the lost report, they say कि sorry, it is not our jurisdiction, you have to report in Delhi. If he goes back to Delhi, he will be spending a lot of money in reporting that. And what happens? Either the person tells the lies to the Chennai police station, कि I have lost my passport in MG Road, at MG Road, or somehow he will tell his relation कि somehow you lodge an DD entry with police. And in the process we have seen आधी सिफारिशें जो पुलिस में हमारे पास आती हैं वो इसी होती है कि साहब इसकी ये गाड़ी चोरी हो गई, इसकी FIR दर्ज करा दो, इसका ये कर दो, वो कर दो. We came up with this very simple application which costed us over 2 lakhs, because concept was ours, design was ours, only coding was required. It costed us over 2 lakh or 3 lakh or whatever. It was done within the limits of my joint CV. Even the file didn't come to me for sanction of funds. Since February 27, you will be surprised to know over 4 lakh 50,000 lost reports have been lost on the cell phone as well as on the web. Of these, 30,000 are on the cell phone and another 4 lakh 20,000 are on through internet. So, you see, otherwise these 4 lakh 50,000 reports would have been written by somebody in our police stations. People would have visited our police station. As the lady said, that the policemen are not very courteous when you interact with them. Maybe out of 4 lakh 50,000, 2 lakh would have felt that the policemen were not very cooperative. Now, if anybody who has lost his lost report, after he filled up that form which is given on the internet or on the cell phone, and he got instantly a digitally signed report which he goes and gets वो उसको लेके वो जो है अपने डुप्लीकेट डॉक्यूमेंट इशू करा रहा है. सो टेक्नोलॉजी का फायदा होगा, पर ये है कि प्रोसेसेस को हमें करना पड़ेगा. जैसे आज हमारी FIR जो दर्ज होती है, हम खुद बैठ के लिखते हैं, मुंशी जी बैठ के लिखते हैं. अगर हम इस प्रकार से करें कि FIR बंदा खुद बनाए इंटरनेट पे, हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि मोटर व्हीकल थेफ्ट की दिल्ली में FIR सेल फोन और इंटरनेट से दर्ज होनी शुरू हो जाए. हमारा काम चल रहा है उस पर. वो अपने आप FIR बनाएगा ऑटोमेटिकली. FIR जैसे ही उसने इनपुट की हमारे सिस्टम में, जो आज हमारा वो तमाम एसपी को मैसेज हमारा IO साहब जनरेट करते हैं, ऑटोमेटिकली सिस्टम विल जनरेट तमाम एसपी को मैसेज की मेरी ये गाड़ी यहाँ से छुट्टी हुई है. NCRB को भी मैसेज चला जाएगा, SCRB को मैसेज चला जाएगा. और हर रोज सुबह 8 बजे जितनी गाड़ियाँ रिकवर हुई हैं उनसे कंप्यूटर अपने आप मैच करे. हमने कुछ नहीं किया. जो व्यक्ति जिसकी गाड़ी चोरी हुई उसने इनपुट किया डाटा ऑन सेल फोन या इंटरनेट पे,